is out for most students here in central Indiana for the summer, but as children get a break from the routine of classes and homework, many are missing out on the routine of regular nutritious meals. Tammy Silverman joins us now from the Indiana Youth Institute with more on this concern. Tammy, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
A very important topic. First of all, let's start off with the numbers. What are we talking about in terms of numbers?
Certainly. In Indiana, we're talking about 21% of children, and actually 15% of all Hoosier households are considered food insecure, which means there's an economic issue going on in that home that they simply can't afford sufficient food supplies.
Yeah, we've got the numbers here. Food insecurity, 21% of Indiana children, 26% in Fayette County, 22% in Marion County?
Absolutely. Rural counties throughout the state have the highest level, so that's why you see Fayette at 26%. It's followed by a close second for those urban communities like Marion County, which is 22%. But even so, suburban communities are the lowest level, but even with that, in Hamilton County, which is the lowest in the state, is still 14%, which means that over 12,000 kids could be hungry this summer.
When you look at those numbers, that really puts it into perspective. You know, these families are struggling, so what are they doing instead to cope and to provide that food during the summer months?
Sure. We know that they often make trade-offs, right? So that many times these families are forced to choose between things like food and transportation, or housing, or medicine, or education. And we know that they often make many trade-offs each and every month. So it's a really tough spot for them to be in. And we also know that some of the coping mechanisms they use are to, plant a garden, which could be a great resource, as well as they borrow from friends and family. Sometimes they often pawn goods. Finally, we know that they add water to stretch the meals. Now, that's something that probably many of our grandparents did, or we've heard tale about that. The reality is sometimes they even do it with infant formula, which can have lasting ramifications.
And taking that one step further, what is the drawback? What happens when children aren't getting enough nutritious food?
Sure. We know that when kids are hungry, it can produce a variety of negative impacts on them. For example, it can increase some of their likelihood for contracting chronic health issues, such as asthma and that kind of thing. They can also lead to increased behavior issues. It can be anxiety, depression, hyperactivity, bullying, fighting in schools. We also know that according to Feeding America, they also have a higher likelihood of truancy and being absent from school.
So what's being done to help?
Sure, that's the good news, right? That's the good news. This summer we know that Feeding Indiana's Hungry Fish, as well as the Department of Education, are teaming up once again this summer to make sure that there are resources available throughout Indiana for these kids. So they've actually identified 1,400 feeding locations in 80 of Indiana's 92 counties.
Excellent. And we have a list of all of those serving locations for the summer on our website at WTHR.com. Tammy Silverman, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you.